But you know what else is cool? Talking about the thing, because we're ready. Hey, hold on. That's better. That's fixed. That's good. Okay. Hey guys, CGDannyB and the boys back again with PlayLog, a podcast that never comes out, but maybe it will one day. And we have been playing Palworld, and we wanted to play more Palworld tonight. And then we saw the conversation that took place in Discord yesterday about like it's soulless, that it looks like a mobile game, this, that, and the other. It doesn't look fun. This, I don't like survival games. And as for people who have been speaking mostly for myself, but assuming for everyone, enjoying the game, and seeing all of the controversy surrounding it on Twitter and other social medias, I figured, you know what? Let's take like 40 minutes, maybe an hour. People like to talk and see how we feel about everything as far as the AI generative stuff, the 3D modeling stuff has been coming up, and just going to go from there. But first, I have the typical boys. Opinions. He's got opinions. But for everyone else who may be watching this on YouTube after the fact, we stream this over on Twitch, twitch.tv/CGDannyB. And if you don't know these guys, I'll let them introduce themselves real quick, starting with Connor.
Hi, I'm Connor. I stream on Twitch as well. I go by Hobo Monkey. A lot of it's just Monster Hunter and dumb gags on Twitter and stuff.
Perfect. Next up is Kanai, the red one.
Well, that's me. My name's Kanai. I go by Dwarven Lion on pretty much every website you can find me on, but I don't post a whole lot these days. But I'm in a whole lot these days.
And last but not least, Christopher.
Yeah, I'm just Chris. I do things sometimes.
I'm just Chris.
Just Chris. So, like we said, we saw some of the conversation. I know, and this whole thing didn't come out to be like, I saw what your bitch ass said on Discord, and I'm about to shut you down for it. It was more of it looked like there was a stance coming from things that are inspired by just other people on the internet saying, this is how I feel, therefore this is how the game exists. And I feel like a lot of people who haven't played are just shitting on it because it is a knockoff Pokemon game. So we kind of sat there, talked about it ourselves, and said, let's just start the stream with this. So before we do anything else, hey, how you guys liking Palworld? Whoever wants to go
love
first.
it.
I think it's great.
Christian, like
I'm loving every moment I've been playing. So I started my own world today just to get my bearings on a little bit more. Yeah, I fucking love the building. I love the building. It's so much fun.
I think I guess timing. God, we were just on a weekend trip together. I know I got home, instantly bought it, and started downloading it.
Yeah.
And then at some point hopped on it in Solo World. Didn't even see you guys were playing until like later. So like,
I think we saw is Connor on? Where's Connor? And we're just like,
I was vibing. I was just like sucked in. I had like music on. It was great. I know I already have like 11 hours in it. So
yeah, I just looked in mine. I somehow have just under 26 hours, and I know I played throughout the weekend and stuff.
Well, I was gonna say you had a Steam Deck.
Yeah, but I was like, holy shit, that much? Because I feel like even over the weekend, maybe like 5 or 6 hours, like that.
How many hours?
Glued to it.
Total, I have like 26. I'm 25.7. So I'm like, holy shit, that's more than I thought I had on that already in like a week's time. But
I'm curious where I'm sitting because I went kind of hard.
You did? Cause I have off yesterday. I'm like, I'm gonna play some Palworld.
I was so jealous, dude. All I was thinking of was like, God, I wish I took off so I could play more of that. Like I was like,
yeah. But off the rip, as we're like, before we like talk more about the game, I think one of the biggest things that comes out of it is everyone arguing that it's like a Pokemon ripoff, which like, I've always hated the terminology ripoff because it just implies that like, oh, it's never going to be as good as the original. It's just someone wanted to make a quick cash grab. And we have a, kind of loose list here of things to talk about. I think our last one kind of goes with this one. So Connor, I know you said, I don't know if this is where you had
that's why I put it in there because I didn't want to forget it.
Yeah.
One of the things that's been bugging me is a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's nothing new. They didn't do anything new, but like that feels really ignorant to me because like,
sure.
I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I play every survival game that comes out, but I've played a good handful of them.
Yeah.
So I get a good feeling of like what, they are.
Mm-hmm.
And a big issue I have is everyone keeps saying like, oh, it's a Pokemon ripoff and stuff, that's another topic of like, it's funny how when a new fighting game comes out, it's a Smash clone, Pokemon game, Monster collecting RPG, it's a ripoff. Anyway.
Yeah.
The thing is that I think Palworld is a survival game that has monster collector aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And the best comparison I have to this is like Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
Where that is a Pokemon game, a monster collection game that has aspects of a survival game, right? Like the crafting and the resource gathering. But it is at its core like a Pokemon game, right? Like that is the point. You're still battling, you're still collecting, they're evolving. The Palworld feels more like, hey, this is a survival game. You're crafting, you're upgrading, you're leveling your guy up, you're doing that stuff. Also, here's Pokemon kind of things to like help that along and add some like flair to it. But overall, I really feel like the pals aren't the like main focus. Like I'm doing a lot of stuff that I could do without the pals.
Yeah. Like Ken and I were up a little bit later last night kind of talking about it, and everyone being like, it's Pokemon with guns, and like it isn't not that, but I think a better descriptor is like Ark with Pokemon, and saying that like it is a survival game. And as someone who doesn't like survival games, like 9 times out of 10, like it's if the itch is there from Minecraft, and if we're like, ooh, let's get back into Valheim. Otherwise, fuck Ark, fuck Rust. None of them scratch the itch. I'm like, I'd rather not play them. But this seems to have the charm of like a franchise I've grown up with like modern sensibilities in a survival game. There's a lot of, as far as early access and go, quality of life things that like I typically don't like in survival games. And I always think back to my time in Ark where I got trapped on one side of a river. It's like my house is over there and there's just 5 giant crocodiles and I can't do anything. So I'm just going to eat shit for the rest of stream to like have fun where I can. Where I feel like anytime, like I haven't anything go disastrously wrong in this game. Where I feel like that's something I typically struggle with in other survival games. And then, yeah, just the catching the Pokemon and everything else on the side, I think is just really fun. I think it changes a lot. And I think when everyone just says it's a rip-off Pokemon, it seems like the meme is that everyone wants to protect the $1 billion corporation. And I think that's like the funniest thing where like Nintendo really doesn't care about anything but your dollar. And I say that in the most like loose way possible. I'm sure there's people there that do care about the people playing their games. But I think being like, no, don't you dare pick on Pokemon. Scarlet and Violet was the best thing to ever come across this land. And like, we all know it's not. If these guys could count the amount of times I've said like, wow, Pokemon could never while playing Palworld is probably more than I can count on my hands.
I was going to say, I think this is the best Pokemon game we've got in the last 6 months. So
yeah.
like, no, I think those are all really good points. Cause like,
yeah.
I've dealt with like I play Terraria. I like Terraria.
Sure.
Literally played it day one. The amount of times I've heard, oh, 2D Minecraft. It's like, it's actually like a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But like, sure, we'll minimalize it to that.
Yeah. I think for a discussionary thing, it's fine to make those comparisons, but I think when you're like ripping on something for that reason, it's a different conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like, there's a lot of like, weirdly, people don't see it. And I guess this is getting to another point if this segues. If people have other stuff to say, we'll go back. But like, this game does have a lot of like care in it, and you can kind of see that. Doesn't always look like it, but I think that's because the engine they used or something. Like a lot of stuff feel like prefab, but there's like gameplay things that are like, oh, this was like thought of. You know, this wasn't just a byproduct. This was like thought was put into this.
Yeah.
After the stuff I read and sent Danny yesterday, I can tell you effectively there is so much care and thought put into this game, and it's hard to see because of the way it looks. But like the amount of thought that was put into a lot of this game is actually insane, and the size of the team for what they created is nuts. And everybody who's like, Palworld's going to get shut down because of Nintendo. Palworld's going to get shut down because of this. It's going to get sued. It's going to get this. It's going to get that. They've had 3 years. Nintendo is proactive with shutdowns. Nintendo sees ads and Nintendo will find a video that has 50 views. And it'll be promising a new Pokemon mod, and it gets shut down the next week.
Yeah.
And then everybody boos and scoffs and is like, oh man, I can't believe Nintendo would deprive their fans of such an experience. But then when something succeeds, they're like, what the fuck, Nintendo? Look at this thing, it's stealing your shit. And they like throw this big fit about how Nintendo should shut it down and it doesn't deserve to be out. It's such a ripoff. It's stealing money from Nintendo. It's obviously using their assets and like all this other stuff. And even day one, even when people were like, it's using pieces of models, I was like, is it? Yes. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. And I've talked to Danny about this a couple of times about like the logistics of that, how hard it would be, all that stuff. And even if it is, I still see it as a Robin Hood situation. I still see it as, if you're not going to use your shit properly, give it to me. I'll make the game people want. That's fun and interesting, costs less than half the price, and is like applicable to like tell a story in a way that hasn't been done in a Pokemon-ish setting.
Just keep going, don't worry about it.
I wasn't even.
Sorry, the overlay cropped everybody's face.
Okay,
so
I don't have your stream pulled up right now.
Dude, you should see like the bottom portion of my sweatshirt 3 times.
The to go with that point, I think even part of like the models is like it, because I'm assuming they made the models after the fact, but I think they've admitted somewhere that like, yeah, we used AI to generate ideas and references for the designs, right? And like, let's be real. If you're using AI, the prompts you're putting in are probably like, hey, what is a different, whatever. They probably put Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
They probably did. I don't think this team's hidden what they're going for. Like, I don't think they were even really trying. And I think we've even talked about, is this parody and stuff like that? But like, if they did that, then yeah, some of the results they used probably generated similar to some Pokemon, and then some of the designs went that way.
Yeah, I think before, just for clarity for anyone who might be like, what's going, like anyone who's just seen the game and not the controversy with it. So a big thing leading in, a lot of people said they used AI generation to make the game. And I think right now we're in a spot where AI is like a dangerous tool for a lot of people's careers, artists, writers, etc. That's why we had the whole SAG-AFTRA strike, etc. Like AI can be dangerous, but I think now everyone hears those 2 letters and says it's immediately bad. There's a difference between like AI and generative AI, and even generative AI can be used beneficially. We're like 3 of us here have gone to art school, and a huge thing that we need to use is reference. And those of you who like to draw, who've done the CGDannyB, if you draw from just off the top of your head, the proportions aren't right, the ideas aren't exactly there, so you want to have some kind of basis to build it off of. So if the argument is that they like use generative AI to be like, give me thin, thick-thighed Staraptor, and that gave them like some kind of conglomeration, ugly something or other, to like build Nightwing in Palworld, and they're like, cool, that's our sample. I kind of love that
Connor,
one.
when we get in game, look at Nightwing. Look at Nightwing and tell Danny he's wrong.
I'm sure you're right, but like, I don't think I would have thought of that descriptor for that. So I wasn't ready for thin, thick-thighed Staraptor.
Seems like Pocket Pair did. But yeah, even like, I think the thing with AI is a lot of people are like, they stole our art and then they just reposted on Twitter. And like, I get that. That's terrible. But if you're using it as like a sample for like, okay, this is kind of where I'm getting my ideas, I'm sketching around it, I'm creating something out of this, you're not just copy pasting, you're still being creative. I think that's where a lot of people lose the track of it, of saying this thing is bad because it used AI. Well, no, they didn't just use AI and slap it into a game. And then that's where like the 3D modeling comes out of it, and the amount of people who have said they ripped models from some of the actual Pokemon assets. And I think this was later on the list, but while we're here, so again, along with the controversy, someone took a bunch of the models from probably Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, Sun and Moon, X and Y, and put them like next to their Palworld counterparts, right? So we had Lycanroc with Dire Wolf, and it's like, oh, they're the same size and it's the same face. And I had told Kanai last night, like, this was probably the potentially most damning thing, and probably where I would be the most devil's advocate on this, of like, it's easy to take something and make a model out of it, but if something polygon for polygon is like super similar, it's hard to just do that without taking the assets and modifying them. And the topology is different, which you can automatically, or not automatically, but you can change on your own and modify a bunch of things. But today on Twitter, I'd seen where I guess the original artist took the models and scaled them to match the Palworld ones, as opposed to like just putting them next to each other and saying they're the same. And it came down to this person was upset about animal cruelty, so this is why they felt this way, so they modified this. So basically the person said, I was mad about the game being what it was, so I made Lycanroc the same size as Direwolf. So everything that was against them as far as 3D models, and again, this is Twitter. Twitter's, I post this, it could be wrong. But based on the evidence that's presented now, it is a lot of people yelling at Pocket Pair for something that some dude on Twitter did and made everybody mad at this studio. So that was probably the most thing I was pissed about. And with the evidence that's presented now, I'm like, I have no beef with this game. There's nothing that has stopped me from enjoying this game or keeps me mad at it like everyone else is.
And I will say, just like piggybacking off of that, everybody who has started to just shit on Pocket Pair for this game, like, stop, take a step back, and like look at what you're actually doing. Because this game, after reading what I've read and like looking up Pocket Pair more, this is a small company owned by 2 men who hired a team of 8 people to make 3 games so far. This is a 10-person company who outsources and hires people that they think are right for the job. If you don't know, all of the guns in the game are modeled by a 16-year-old who is very, very particular. Yeah, modeled by a 16-year-old who is super particular about reload animations, and they hired him to model all their guns because they thought he had potential to do it correctly.
How do we interview this kid? I want to talk to this kid.
If I recall, they're
yeah.
all Japanese, right? Was that the?
They're not all Japanese.
They're not all
That's the
okay.
thing. The original company, the original 10 people are Japanese, and they had to outsource into people that they found from various countries, so they don't all speak the same language either.
Right, I remember you saying that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I think what I read is that they hired upwards of 40 people to outsource to, and they made this game on a budget. So they made this game on a budget. It was, what was it, Danny? I think it was like 1 billion yen is what their
Something
budget
like
was.
that. And I don't know what that conversion is. If either you know or if anyone in chat can convert 1 billion yen to USD.
I got you.
Good bit of money. It's like $6 million or something like that. But all of that money is from their first game. It's all from Craftopia.
Oh my god, these guys made Craftopia?
Yeah, they made Craftopia, and they're working on. I want to say Everwitch. I don't think it's the name.
781,200. Oh no. Yeah, no, I'm right. Yeah, $201.
How much was it?
6.7 million.
Okay, yeah.
Which is nothing to scoff at, especially for an indie studio. And sorry, Chris, I would ask you too. I know you have an immense
for a game.
Yeah, for a game that came from Craftopia, and now making a Hollow Knight clone or etc. I think there's, if this studio's whole thing is we're going to make something similar to things that people want, that's just not copy paste, but it's like, oh, it's the same tone, it looks like it. I'm okay with that. I'm loving that's what Pocket Pair is.
Sorry, do you know what I was thinking this while we were playing last night. I've said for a while, I play a lot of modded Minecraft and stuff when the urge strikes. I've always said to myself, man, no one's making a game like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I have to install mods to get that like vibe of like, oh, I'm progressing industrially here while exploring, you know. And then like Palworld comes along, I'm like, oh, this is that. This is like any Minecraft mod pack with like Pixelmon or Cobblemon or whatever. It's like, oh, that's what this is. Someone just made a game. I don't have to install mods. I can just play the game. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
We need. Listen. Hold on. Pocket Pair. Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. That's all I'm gonna say. Put it out there. It's Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. No one's making a game like it. I'm just saying.
It's also crazy that it is 3 years, right? It took 3 years for people to have a problem with this game. It launches. Some probably like 2 YouTubers were like, oh my god, have you guys seen this game? I've never heard of it. And they threw a fit about it, which then grew and grew and grew and grew. And then suddenly I'm getting 16 TikToks on my For You page that are people saying it's disgusting and this company should be shut down. This is the new era of gaming where it's just going to be copy paste from this. And nothing about it is copy paste. It takes elements that it's clearly inspired by. And like I just said, it's mostly made by like small time developers. It's 2 dudes who quit college to pursue creating games as a career. And like if you read the interview with this dude, nobody in the studio had experience with anything shooter because shooters aren't big in Japan. So like they are people who are coming from an RPG background, and they are like, fuck, what do we do about shooters? And somebody
and
had
real
to be
quick,
like,
Derek, you can this thing that
good.
Kanai sent me, I will put this in the description of the YouTube video. So if anyone on Twitch, you can catch that then, or if you're watching this on YouTube, like you can, it's in Japanese. You have to convert it to English. I only got to kind of dabble through it, but yeah, there's that whole thing. I'll put that in the description so you guys can read what Kanai's referencing here.
And he goes through like the miracles of the game's release in 3 days and like all this other stuff. And for people who are saying that it like, and I know the quote that we've seen is like soulless. It doesn't seem like it's like well attended to. It's slapped together assets, like all of that stuff. It's already gotten 2 updates.
Yeah.
In the like 4 or 5 days it's been out, it's gotten updates. And like people were like, oh, don't trust this company. They shut, like I've seen people bashing it on Steam. And people are like, Pocket Pair doesn't care about the games they release. They release them and they drop them. And in the comments are people who play the games religiously, and they're like, dude, Craftopia just got an update like a month ago. What are you talking about?
I see Craftopia on the like front page of Steam all the time.
This game,
I never picked it up, but like, I know it.
This game launched, and it has received 2 updates already, and they posted a roadmap of what they want to do for the future.
I did see someone in chat mention the
looks
roadmap.
great, by the way.
Yeah.
a
And
lot of
all
early
it
quality of life
sounds
stuff
really
to fix.
fun. Yeah. Quality of life, raid bosses for endgame content for people who are like steamrolling through it, PvP content for people who are interested in it.
I think. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. But like, I don't know. I think it boils down to like there's this weird perspective where people will fight against a company, right? They'll be like, "Oh my God, Nintendo, what are you doing? You're messing up. You're doing blah 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 blah." But then they're still loyal to that company. And when they see somebody be like, "Oh my God, this is gross," they're like, "Yeah, I'm loyal to that company, so that's gross," even though it's going against what I was just saying 3 months ago when I was playing Pokemon. Like, people want something new until it's in their hands. Then they're like, "What is this? This isn't what I wanted. I wanted something old and that I'm used to. I wanted something nostalgic."
Yeah. Go ahead, Connor. You do just quick.
Sorry, mine's a super minor point.
Yeah.
One thing people don't do is like, and maybe it's just the age we're in with games. No one's giving this game any break on anything for the fact that it's still in early access. By the way, and it's just released in early access. So like, there's like no like I don't know net for them, even though there really should be, considering it's not a finished product. But that's all. I
want to respond to Burb here, and then I want to move to Chris. I know you haven't had a chance to say much yet, and I want to see what you're at with it.
It's all good.
But yeah, Burb, and again, this isn't like a Burb, you fucking, but like. For the match that started the fire, it was your discussion in the Discord that kind of started it. I see you said it might be something I messed in my opinion because Microsoft hasn't released those 2 updates yet, which is totally valid. I think as far as the quality of the game and not getting those patches, I tried to launch it on Game Pass and it wouldn't run on Steam Deck, so I ended up just buying it on Steam and played it that way. So I've not touched the Xbox version of it. I don't know how it runs, how it doesn't work. As far as playing with the controller on PC, I've had no issues with it. In the early access build that we have, it's fairly close to like high polish, and there's things like we've had our monsters are like starving, like where'd they go? He's stuck in the tree again, and you'll probably see it in this footage here, but there's just a moment where you just have like a giant dinosaur just stuck at the top of a tree and he can't get down, so we have to like take him out, put him back in, and there's a clip in here too of like the giant penguin who's just like, oh man, he's resting and he's just staring at a rock for like 4 days in the game. And it's like, he's starving. He won't move. He's just like contemplating and depressed about this rock. But like, those are such funny, goofy, minor things. Like, I know there was some things about save data being lost, but I don't think there's been much in terms of like, man, this game is broken. This game doesn't function. And now you have footage of me and Chris here fighting with sticks and shit. But like, it's just, it's goofy to play with your friends and like, each time we're like, guys, I got a new guy. And like, the guy just let out here Tombat, where I like ran up to the guys, like, look at this cool dude. It's a giant cat bat. And everyone's like, oh man, he's such a cool guy. Look at these fun little monsters we're running into. And the fact that they're so similar to Pokemon without being quite like, some of them are almost quite literally like Pokemon that we know, but there's always something that changes them a bit that makes them like kind of cute, and the variety is fun. And that's probably one of my highlights from the game so far. But yeah, Chris, I don't know, as far as like the stealing assets, just the overall quality of the game, I don't know if you were like, oh, I want to check in here, if you have anything you want to.
Yeah, maybe it's because like I don't have like the similar like background as like you guys have with this. I didn't necessarily like that wasn't gonna pull me like one way or like the other, like whether to play the game, to support the game or not. I've never really thought of things like that. I'm just like, because like I'm the kind of person that just like sits back and I'm like, am I enjoying the game that's in front of me?
Yeah.
And I have been enjoying every moment of it. Like, granted, so now I got to call myself out for this, but like my background with survival games is really like Minecraft, and is just Minecraft. So I was like, there's got to be another one in there. Am I missing one?
You played like 3 hours of Valheim with us.
I was gonna say Valheim. There's Subnautica.
I didn't play Subnautica.
Damn it.
No.
I give you the benefit of the doubt here, Christopher.
You'll give me some Valheim.
I tried.
But yeah, but I'm sorry, I forgot to. But yeah, so porting updates to console can take longer because they're different platforms. You can't just make something on PC, copy paste to Xbox. There's a different software, different hardware, things that have to be adjusted, and that's why like we haven't seen it on PlayStation yet. according to Twitter, Shuhei Yoshida's like, yeah, we want this on PlayStation. So I would expect it in the future. But like, it seems like those conversations haven't happened yet. So probably not to like full launch.
Fuck out of Palworld.
Same. Listen, let's start over and get a platinum.
Listen, I'm down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming to PlayStation.
Not officially, but the PlayStation guy has been like, yeah, let's work on something. So there's an aim to get it on PlayStation someday.
Bro, let's get there.
Another to piggyback off what you said, Danny, is that's by the way that the update's not hitting consoles is such not a new thing.
Yeah.
Like that's literally the what for Risk of Rain 2, Survivors of the Void.
Oh yeah, that was
like just recently hit console,
which we had on PC,
been out
what,
for like
a
year.
Yeah.
Like it's not new that's a thing, and the fact it's more of an exception when a game and console are on the same version than it is they're on different ones, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's rarer than the alternative. So
yeah. And to kind of piggyback off what Chris was saying and being like, I didn't go to art school, I didn't 3D models, graphics, et cetera. This is kind of, and Chad, you've heard me talk about this plenty of times before, having like the generic gamer, right? The guy who comes in once a year to GameStop and buys his Call of Duty and his Madden.
Look at it.
The average gamer.
Yeah, but like just like the regular dude who doesn't look at all the important stuff in the development process and everything. They just go in, they swipe their card, they spend their $70 for their copy paste Madden, and then go home and come back again in 365 days. Like a lot of people on Twitter are the people who haven't played and they see. I don't have a good example. I think Kanai, you mentioned Callum, Hoodlum Callum, who was like ripping this game apart. I haven't seen what he said. I just saw it kind of, you read it to me through Twitter.
He had said that the game is like a violent knockoff. People should be disgusted, like all this other stuff. It's disgusting that these people are like trying to step on the toes of like an established company, and like he was saying a lot of stuff that just sounded uneducated. And to me, seeing that from a PokeTuber, it just sounds like I don't see potential for content in this, is what it sounds like.
Which, I mean, it's crazy because like it really feels like they're like the ceiling is like so high.
Like I was telling Danny last night,
especially with the roadmap they put out.
Yeah. Like I was telling Danny last night, dude, it's not that there's no content. It's that like you're so limited in your mindset when you're in that situation, because you're thinking like, oh, well, how am I going to do a Nuzlocke? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? You're not thinking like, oh my God, I could try and do a pacifist run. Like legitimately, I could probably beat this game without ever fighting. Or like I could try and beat this game with no pals, you know?
Yeah.
We're just doing like eggs, like getting to the point where you can get the incubator. And just being like, now
Palworld egg lock, baby.
I was about to say, it's crazy because PokeTubers have this insane thing called egg locks.
It's
But yeah, to kind of
couple my McDonald's, by the way.
Listen, fuck it up, give me some fries.
I'm cool.
To kind of couple it with, I know Burb, you said like, it's not new, and I think the biggest thing is there's a lot of people who to kind of piggyback, not piggyback, but to step back to the average gamer thing, people just kind of seeing what they see on the internet and being that's the law. The amount of people who saw like Palworld uses AI and said like, what does that exactly mean? And someone said it's bad, so now they've decided this game is bad. Or someone who's like, they stole models, didn't do any research, just saw one picture of Lycanroc and Direwolf and said, wow, this game steals everything, that's crazy. And like, totally, in the case that it's true, in the fact that everything I saw on Twitter today is like, that's fake, the original guy lied about the original thing, and they did steal models, and we have egg on our face, you know what, that's the case when you don't have a direct quote from the developer about it, about the accusations. But as it seems right now, it's like everybody on the internet wants to come up with something to kind of push this blame to someone that's just because they're making something out of the normal. And playing the first couple hours that I had, I was so excited at the idea of like, cool, Game Freak now sees that someone, not now sees, because there's so many great Poke clones, and we talked about this yesterday with Cassette Beast, Koromon, Nexomon, and like they never get shut down, but everyone loves them because they're like, what are we doing that Pokemon refuses to do? That Pokemon refuses to like continue to grow and have its Breath of the Wild moment of Pokemon now is modern and cool and has a bunch of fun stuff. And with Scarlet and Violet, like that was probably that was the worst Pokemon game to like ever exist in terms of like quality, gameplay. It was awful, terrible. And there's no reason that that should have happened with Game Freak in 2023, 2022, whenever we had it. Like, that's rough. And the fact that Palworld, the footage you're seeing right here, you see how I can look into the distance and actually see something? Pokemon could never. And that's my main problem with it right now. And the fact that everyone's having so much fun with a game that runs and functions, has frames, isn't choppy. We got into anti-aliasing last night, we were talking about like what this game has that Pokemon doesn't.
Yeah.
And then the people are just like, well, I don't care. It's not my Pikachu. It's not my Charizard. So it's a bad game. And I think that's probably like the biggest thing is people like raising their nose to something that they don't like. And I'm not saying everyone has to love the game. If you don't like the game, if you don't like the guns, you don't like survival, that's totally fine. I just think there's a lot of accusatory things that are happening that aren't valid, that aren't fair for the 7 million people as of this morning who have bought this game. So like, come on.
There's a difference between, oh, sorry, Chris.
Oh, no.
Mine's real quick, I promise.
Yep.
And there's a difference, right? There's, I don't like this game. And then there's like people who buy this game are awful people because they're supporting copyright infringement. Like there's a strong difference. And a lot of the times it gets blurred because there are people who play it and they go, genuinely, it's a cool concept, can't get behind it. And that's different.
Yeah. That's
so much different than, oh my God, why are people buying this? It's garbage. I'm going to trash talk it and everybody who buys it. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry about that.
So the point I was gonna get, not because it was the time with the thing Danny was saying, it's more of the this is just like a lot of things of pointing to that Game Freak should be evolving.
Yeah.
And they like we kind of like want something different. Not that Pokemon, I mean, it's changing with like its new mechanics. It's changing all the time. But like, if anything, like the thing we got here has been leagues better than Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
And that's like what it should be. It should be like this should essentially be giving Game Freak the good kick in the ass that they've been needing like the past few years to actually like do something with their IP instead of just the same stuff. Because pretty much like everything like I've been seeing of like the people kind of like bashing it was like, it's just like you can't say you want something different from Nintendo, and then when something different comes along the way, you're like nope, yeah. And then turn your head up at it. No, you don't get both sides of that.
Right. Yeah, you can't ask for the better, and then when you get the better, choose not to play it. Like it's a hypocritical thing that's just not. It doesn't work. You don't get to talk. You don't get to run your mouth for those kind of things. You can be quiet and go play Madden. Go play again. Tell me the difference between the last four. You can't.
The roster.
Yeah, I'm sure you can tell me the difference. Which one has Patrick Mahomes in the cover? You have no idea.
I couldn't tell you.
No.
Quarterback. Which team? I don't fucking know. I don't
the Kansas City Chiefs, sir.
I don't fucking pay attention to football. Put me in wrestling. I got that.
Yeah, slightly confused. You can't compare this to Pokemon survival shooter with pets. Pokemon is turn-based RPG. And yeah, like it's the weird thing of like, I think we went down the list last night of like, it's Pokemon, it's Breath of the Wild, it's Ark, it's got Souls elements into it. And that's the next thing we can bring up is the amount of people like kind of stepping to the Pokemon ripoff. Like, it's not fair that it's a knockoff of this, but we get another Souls-like in the case of like Lies of P, and everyone like, no one's complaining like, oh, they stole the whole gameplay mechanic from Software. Yep. Like, everyone gets excited about that. We talked about we had a list of other ones of Mega Man likes, so being like Gravity Circuit came out, Bat Boy came out, and no one's complaining that, oh, these stole from Mega Man. When you had a really good one last night that I was like, shit, you're right.
When Dauntless,
that was out. Yep.
Dauntless came out, and I think everyone in the Monster Hunter community I saw at least was like, yo, cool, another hunting game. Maybe it'll be good.
Yeah.
For me personally, it wasn't, but like,
I don't
think anyone was shitting on. No one was like, oh my God, a Monster Hunter ripoff. Monster Hunter's been the only one for how long?
Yeah.
And then like Dauntless comes along.
The only thing I can imagine is it has to be a difference in community.
Yeah.
There has to be a community who wants an abundance of games because they like their style of games so much. and then the people who, like, for the lack of a better term, and I apologize for your profanity filter if you have any on your channel, Danny, because I'd be saying it.
As long as it's not something homophobic or racist.
No, it's not. But
Alright.
like for the people who like in the more modern kid-friendly term, glaze, who are like constantly glazing the Pokemon games and just being like, oh my god, they're the best thing to ever exist. Like, these are the end-all be-all. You have so much content to pick from. And here's the thing. Nobody said shit when Pokemon stole from Chocobo Mystery Dungeon and made the Mystery Dungeon games. Nobody said shit when they made Pokemon Conquest. Nobody said shit when they fucking ripped off Beyblades and made the Battle Spin thing. Nobody said anything when Pokemon rips off from other small developers and makes a game that's heavily, like, heavily compared to, like, another version of that same game. But the minute somebody else does it to Pokemon, they're like, no, you can't do that. They don't make enough money. They're only one of the biggest multimedia franchises of the last fucking 50 years.
Don't pick on my billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah, dude. Please show that picture, Danny.
Not enough people said shit when Pokemon ripped off Pokemon. I'll stand by that. Gen 5's a fucking mess. No.
Just saying, the other three disagreed on that podcast over on Chris's channel.
Listen, I'm just saying, be consistent.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It's 100% difference in community, for sure.
Do this.
Because like everybody's chill. Like when Wild Hearts came out, I think this is like perfect. Because Connor's the Monster Hunter guy. How did you feel about that when you saw it?
Such a
Wild Hearts?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, cool, another hunting game. I hope it's
so
somewhat
funny.
as good as Monster Hunter. I was not upset that, oh my god, another hunting game. No, because it's a fucking genre that doesn't exist, really. Yeah. Like, it's Monster Hunter's kind of it.
Yeah.
And then, like, so people in that community, like myself, are like, oh man, I'll take anything that's new or twisting it or something, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Is Monster Hunter the best one in my opinion? Yeah, they've had like 20 years to polish it.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Where's Dauntless 2?
Like, I gave Dauntless a try. I wanted to try Wild Hearts at some point. There's only so
Danny,
much.
let's Might 2 come out first.
Yeah, listen.
Listen. I'm just saying.
Hold on, chat. You're gonna see here. I think this is the penguin thing I was talking about. Look at him. But no, yeah, I just think
fucking insane though.
He's just like standing there staring at a rock.
While we're looking at that and talking about it, that's on the next list of patches. They're patching PAL pathing.
Cool. Yeah,
yes, I saw that.
Yeah, because there's plenty of clips of them kind of getting stuck like on the corner of something because they need to go check another base, but whatever path takes them here. Yeah, you can see up there. I think the squirrel got stuck in the tree. Yeah, it's like the game's not perfect, but it's damn near. Oh, okay, sorry, not perfect. It's damn near like close to being the best thing that it can be. And I say that in the way of like, there's got to be so many updates that are going to add more and more and more.
It's really polished for just coming out in early access.
Which another thing of like consoles, not Xbox is kind of a different case now, but consoles typically don't get early access deal. Like that's where it's like PC's easier to update, make it, high quality, finish everything, then make a console version that you guys will get like at launch or later. So the fact that Xbox kind of has like to drag the feet a little bit until they get a better version as things come out. I think this game is so much fun. And you can see the three of us sitting here with our freaking witch hats. I think it was before Chris had hopped back on and came back like, who are these dummies? Why are they all dressed the same? Like, oh, but I'm increasing my stats. I need my better hat.
There was the question that popped in my head. I'm like, why the fuck are they wearing a witch hat? Where did they get it? And what is happening?
Also, I realized why this game is scratching my brain so much. It's a single player MMO. It is. That's what it is. If you look at the combat, if you look at the traversal, the like upgrades, the skill tree, it's what it is. It is a low scale MMO that is so fucking fun and engaging. And if you're depriving yourself of it just because like you're listening to some random dude on the internet complain about it, you're missing out.
Different.
If you dude, I'm scarfing it. I'm so hungry. If you play it and don't like it, that's so much different than like listening to somebody else's opinion and going, I'm not gonna try it. At least like at least it's not a Pokemon game where it's $60 and then you find out that you hate it, you know?
Yeah.
At least it's not you're paying $60 to $70 for 12 hours of content, no post game, and when they do release post game, it's 6 months later and costs $20. Like
versus a $26 game on Steam.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
$26.
This is the price. This is the price of a Pokemon DLC. Like, if anybody heard that and that didn't hit them and go, "Holy shit, that's kind of right," then you don't have the proper perspective to like have an opinion.
Let's just see what Josh said here. It is entirely people who have tunnel visions on hearing it's a clone. And I'm sorry, punctual. And then they.
It's
yeah, we'll translate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but even. Yeah, it's the 26, but I think it's the 20. It might be like $29.99 or something like that. But yeah, the launch week sale is like a little bit. Yeah, but yeah, even 30. That's half the price of the higher quality one. Google it for me. Google it for me there. So we convert $26 USD to yen. Yeah, no, the game's super great. And I think it's just getting this like Joshua said, this tunnel vision hatred because a few big people on Twitter are saying it's not good. And listen, I understand the whole, like, it's animal abuse, this, that, and the other. As far as we've played, like, I think probably maybe me the most has been the most, like, get your ass back to work. Or I swear to God, I'll put you away. And, like, I was like, Annie, calm down. And, like, Connor's, you want to tell about your mascot of this game so far?
Listen. Within, like, an hour of playing, it's like, go catch some land balls, and they're just little fluffy sheep guys. And I'm like, all right, that's easy enough going around catching them. I get one. I'm looking at them because they all get their own little unique. They have their like PAL ability, but then they have their own unique passes. And sometimes it's like I get hungry less often. And this dude had like workhorse. It's like 20% work speed, and then like
slave worker is one of them.
Yeah.
And
I think he has that, and then he has like something else, and it's like, oh, I lose sanity slower, so I can work more. And I'm like, yo, so I bring him home, figure out how to nickname something, and I just nickname him the Help because he's the goat. He's the goat of the base. Dude is ridiculous.
It is great because if you put a normal one next to him and like you set up a little bench and you watch him build, you have the one going like tink. Tink, and then the Help shows up. Tink, 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 and he's going so fast. Yeah, and it's great because like as you go in and you're like finding different, we're gonna call them Pokemon. I'm sure it's just impossible not to do. The amount of times Kanai last night, like, damn it, I said Pokemon again. I'm like, no, we get it. But when you find new ones,
calling them pals.
Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue well, but also like, fuck it, the monsters, the mons, the whatever.
I mean, 28 years.
Hard not to
like a few months, like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but yeah, finding new ones out there, like there's bosses you can run into. I just got a big one called I think it's Bronc Cherry, and I ran into like a normal one, and the big boss one's like twice the size, and it has extra abilities. There's ones that have Lucky, which makes them just all around better at a lot of different things. So you bring it back to the camp. So
I'm like magnetized to Lucky Pals, dude.
I got 2 more today.
Nice.
When I was running around, well, I was the first one to find when I found that chicken. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, he's so big. And then last night I ran into 3 back to back. And I was like, what is happening?
The weekend, but okay.
What?
I found Cremis first over the weekend, but I guess you could have it first.
When you were the only one who had access to the game?
Yes. You guys could have brought your computers to the cabin.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what we were gonna do.
But no, I don't know how much more you guys had any final thoughts on, or more to kind of like to say about Palworld and some of the things on the internet. But yeah, I think just this is kind of the reflection of 4 people who are enjoying it, and I think there's just a massive mob, not even a massive mob. I think there's a vocal minority on the internet that wants to complain, and having 7 million people buy the game, like, you don't just sell 7 million copies and be like, damn, people hate this shit. Like, the game's good. And like, again, if it's not your cup of tea, it's not your style. Yeah, dude. I don't know what the sales numbers on that, but again, a $10 game. Like, indies kill it.
Yeah.
Play some fucking indies, people. Game Freak, step your shit up.
I do have like a wrap up statement for me at least.
Yeah.
This game and Hogwarts Legacy and a whole bunch of other games recently have been going through development for a long time, been established IPs for a long time. been working titles with open concepts that like people have known about for a long time, and everybody suddenly decides to get like bitchy about it when the game releases and does well and sells well. And it's because they see all these clips and they go, oh, what's gonna get me clout, right? They're like, oh, what's gonna get me my 15 seconds of fame on Twitter, YouTube, fucking Twitch, on Instagram. And it's like, oh, if I throw shade at this thing that everybody is currently obsessed with, I'm going to get attention. And I'm not saying that's everybody's motive. Some people's motive might genuinely be just like, I didn't like the game. And again, that's fine. But there's a way to approach it that's not, you're terrible for buying this game, you shouldn't have bought this game, and then finding all these fake reasons that it's like a horrible reason to purchase the game or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I said it yesterday. The internet has like ruined the gaming industry because you can't release something that somebody dislikes without them going somewhere in like the deep recesses of the internet and either starting a rumor or making this big long laundry list of issues that then spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
Because everybody has access to your thoughts and opinions at such a wider scale than they did even 20 years ago. When like a game used to release, it would come down to like, oh, what is that game? And you would find it out from your friend. You would either play it from them, or somebody would like randomly gift it to you or tell you can borrow it, and then you had to form your own opinion. You couldn't just like get on the internet and be like, let me look up a review. Let me look at what this person said. Ooh, did this person play it? And then tell me how it is. And then you have to listen to somebody else's opinion on a game that you're not personally experiencing. And I think it is such a shame for these games, because like the whole Hogwarts Legacy thing, it started, and then 4 months later, nobody cared. It was on the Game of the Year list, and nobody cared. Nobody was like, oh my god, I can't believe they're putting this transphobic, blah, blah, and like started getting into like the whole reasons Hogwarts Legacy was in controversy. Nobody started bringing that back up when it was up for Game of the Year. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Palworld. Once all the allegations have passed and all that stuff, I think it's going to die down, and it's just going to be like, oh, I finally tried Palworld. Actually, pretty fun.
Pretty great.
And
Got
yeah, I think it comes down to just like, stop being mean to people who are finding something they enjoy. Stop finding reasons to be angry when there's nothing there for you to be angry about.
Yeah.
You're just angry because somebody else was angry.
Slightly confused, asked in chat, is there any actual legal action that Nintendo's taking?
I don't think they can.
No.
We haven't heard
They're not
anything.
on the grounds for
It seems to all fall under parody, so that it's not like there's much Nintendo could do. Like I was saying, the only thing Nintendo really has is if Palworld was stealing their models and modifying them, that's probably the biggest thing they can get. Otherwise, it's all parody. I used the example a few days after the game came out. Someone made a Pokemon mod. It was Ash Ketchum catching Pikachus and Eevees and everything else. That was shut down in like 12 hours. So the fact that Nintendo came after that mod in an instant, when Palworld's been announced for like 3 years and is now, released in early access, like, yeah, I don't think Nintendo's, they're probably keeping an eye on it, but I don't think there's anything Nintendo can do. I don't think there's anything Nintendo will do. Because again, if they went after, Palworld, you got Koromon, Cassette Beasts, Nexamon, all the other Pokemon clones out there, Temtem.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much I think they can do.
I just watched a video of a lawyer reacting to Palworld.
Yeah.
And the lawyer's pretty much like, you can't just sue because the vibes feel similar.
Yeah.
You can't just look at something and go, that looks kind of like this. There is a 4-stage process that you have to go, like, is it affecting the sales of the original company? Is it being used in the same way as the original company? Is it similar enough that it should be concerning? And pretty much she said in most of these cases, the answer is no. Like, this game, no matter how popular it gets, is not going to affect the sales of Pokemon shit. It will never touch those sales. It'll remain one of the most lucrative franchises.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like if Nintendo is going after them for this, then there's a lot of developers that have a lot better ground to stand on to go after some other games that everybody knows and loves.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Because yeah. Slippery slope once you go down it.
Yes.
I'm going to say it right now because I said it last night. Anybody in Danny's chat who, when Danny says something about having a community night and Danny offers Among Us, if any of you fuckers said duck or goose duck, You are a hypocrite if you are going against this game for stealing.
It's not wrong, guys. If you're like, I want to play Goose Goose Duck over Among Us, but you're not going to play Palworld for Pokemon, he's got a point. He's got a very valid point.
Platinum in Among Us.
That's true. Let's do that.
If your answer to that is that Goose Goose Duck is cheaper, still a hypocrite, because Palworld is half the goddamn price.
Hey,
Goose Goose Duck's a
I'm just
privacy.
saying, if 3 years ago you would have said one, you have an opinion on Palworld, I would have laughed. But two, Kenai would be vehemently defending Palworld. I would not have been on my bingo card.
I have been on this game's side since the first fucking trailer.
No, because it's great, because it's fun, it's goofy.
Yeah.
So if we're doing closing statements, mine is just simply let people enjoy the things they enjoy and don't talk shit on it if you don't like it. If you don't like it, just turn around and just fucking ignore it, because nobody's gonna give a shit.
What he said.
You could be the guy that's like, I don't like it. We got Dotson over here. See, no one cares. Jurassic Park reference.
Yeah, if we're wrapping that up quick, my big thing is I think video games are one of the few things where intent actually matters. So like your intention, the intention of Palworld very much feels like it was like, we want to make a fun survival game that probably parodies, maybe pokes fun of, or at least puts it in a fun situation of Pokemon. But while also making a good game, like intent matters. So like with the intent of this game being non-malicious, not just like one of the thousands of money grabbing games on like Steam and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's fine, and people need to look at that and realize that before they start just saying it's stealing.
Absolutely. Well, there we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode of PlayLog. Will there be another one? Someday. When will it be? Couldn't tell you. We'll figure it out.
The world may never know.
Our dead body's Pikachu.
See you guys next year on this podcast.
There you go. If you guys,
Joe
if
Hog.
you like the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of Palworld. Take something from what we said here today. Are you still sitting there crying about copyright? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'm sure someone will be raging down there. And if you want to watch us actually play Palworld, we're about to jump in and play in our currently ongoing world. And if you're like, but Danny, I want to see that, you can catch it over on my VOD channel, CGDannyB VODs, which should be posted by the time this comes out. So yeah, should be great. Thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to follow these guys on their socials. Bye.
Bye.